Good evening, Metallians. Tonight we will have The Rods, a legend by any measure. They'll be with us in just a moment. Hang in there. Okay, everyone. Carl Canady has joined us tonight. He is a drummer and producer for The Rods and St. James. Did I get that right, Carl? Did I get that right, Carl?
Did I get what right?
I introduced you as drummer and producer for The Rods and St. James.
That's fine.
Okay. Where are you calling from tonight?
Calling from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
How close is that to Pittsburgh or Philadelphia?
Philly, it's about 2 hours or so, and Pittsburgh, it's about 4 hours, 3.5 hours. It's a ways. It's a haul, big state.
Okay. So, how long have you been a drummer for The Rods?
Yeah, I was a founding member with David Feinstein. So we started the band in the spring of 1979. So it's been 36 years, something like that.
Sweet mother of God. You know, in 1984, I was sitting in my dorm room looking at Let Them Eat Metal, and it's kind of surreal to be thinking I'm talking to the founder now of The Rods, and always a straight ahead, no bullshit band, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty much sums us up.
Yeah, and cool name too. So is everybody in Pennsylvania, the whole band?
Actually, the band, we were originated in Cortland, where David, I was living in Ithaca, Gary was living in Ithaca. I actually moved to Cortland, but we were all in Ithaca. Cortland's like 15 miles from Ithaca. So, yeah, we were all from that area. So the band's still based out there. Gary and David are still there.
Is that Ithaca, New York?
Ithaca, New York, yeah.
Okay. And you're putting out a record of, we'll call it favorites?
You know, we actually have we've changed plans on that, and we have a pretty significant announcement to make soon. I just can't make it yet. But we've shifted gears, and there may be a new Rods album. We started re-recording our songs. In fact, Crank It Up is out on iTunes, a re-recording of it, which is interesting because it's so much like the original. It's uncanny, really, how similar it is. But, you know, we may be having there may be a new album in the future.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. The Rods, 36 years, and coming out with maybe a new album. That would be a very welcome event for many people, including myself.
Nice.
And I still
got the new material, and so we'll see.
I still have my Rods vinyl set. You know, I don't have the whole catalog, but I got quite a few of them. So I really like the. It's sort of a you know, you listen to death metal and you listen to thrash and you listen to all this, and then you just get that straight ahead riff, you know, theme riff, and it's so if I'm reviewing 5 death metal albums a day, it's just like I got to go have something else, and that's one of my sanctuaries. Uh,
I love liquid metal, and I love black metal, death metal, but it does after a while. I have to sort of like it's like eating something spicy. You need a cracker or something every now and then just to clear your palate.
yeah, I tell my wife once in a while, will you put on some chamber music? I'm coming downstairs.
Yeah.
Or Billy Ocean. One of the guys I was interviewing said the most unmetal music he listened to was Billy Ocean. That's
funny.
That's one of the winners.
It's funny. Billy Ocean had the Mutt Lange produced. I think what Get Out of My Dreams into my car, that hit he had.
Yeah.
Mutt Lange's such a great producer.
Yes, he is. But you're a good one too. Can you help me with a tie-in on St. James?
St. James was a band that I didn't set out to join St. James. I signed them to a production company that Gary DeLaire and Charlie Sanofsky and I started, which we wound up, we built a studio and started a production company. So St. James was one of the first bands we signed. So they came in, the drummer got deathly ill. And at the time, before I built my studio, before I bought a building and built the studio, I had done a timeshare, basically our gear with another studio in Utica, New York. So our equipment was in the building that had been a recording studio. And so we used the building, and the owner had 2 weeks, and we had 2 weeks. So we were coming up to the end of our 2 weeks. We had done pre-production and our click tracks. We had, songs were ready to go, but the drummer got sick, so we waited the last few days. Finally, he was just so sick, he wound up jumping on a bus and went home.
Whoa.
And then I got sick. So then I wound up, the last minute we had, half a day, like at noon, I think we were done at 6, we had to be out. I came downstairs, and I'd actually gone to the hospital. I was dehydrated, I was so sick, it was wicked flu. And I played the drums on the first St. James album in like 4 hours. And just, 1 or 2 takes. Thank God, because I had produced the album, I had done pre-production and worked out the arrangements, I knew the material. But that was how it started, that was it. That was the first time. And after that, everything clicked, and I just became the drummer in the band. But I couldn't play live, that was the problem. I just couldn't get away because I had a production company, I had a recording studio, so there was no way that I could go on the road with the band. And they became a great live band, and there I was in the studio, really unhappy that I, couldn't go out with it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Let me ask you this: How are you active in the writing?
I am with the Rods, but I'm not with St. James.
Yeah, I meant the Rods.
Yeah, but the Rods, I've written probably well over a third, not quite half of the material in the Rods.
Lyrics, arrange.
I play guitar. I've been playing guitar as long as I've been playing drums, pretty much. So, I write the guitar parts as well.
So we got ourselves a multi instrumental savant here.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but it makes life a lot easier to communicate when you play guitar or piano.
You mentioned live opportunities. When was the last time the Rods went on a tour?
The last dates we just did actually, we headlined the Electric City Music Fest here in the Scranton area, and that was, I want to say September. It's an outdoor show, but thank God the weather was good. Like September 15th or something. And before that, we had done a few dates in Europe at the end of, right at the beginning of June.
Okay, and what about the future touring? I know you stay and run the production.
no more dates for this year, but I mean, starting to book some dates for next year. We have, yeah, we'll see about Europe, but right now we have July 21st. We have a big outdoor show in our hometown of Portland. So
Cool.
right now that's the only confirmed date that we can announce.
Okay. I got a kind of a left field question here for you, and a few more. But this one is, you guys came up in the generation where media was purchased, right? And there were A&R people and major labels. Did you get a chance to actually make some money before everything fell apart? Could
You know, I mean, I would say the Rods never, you know, us being a cult band, it's not like we ever really went to the bank. You know, it wasn't like bands like Motley Crue became huge, and obviously Metallica, you know, even Anthrax. But I made more money as a producer than I ever made in a band. So if that answers your question.
yes. And I didn't get any I didn't get any download tracks for St. James. Can you just tell me a little bit about them and plug them, I guess, since you produced?
Well, I mean, St. James is, I mean, I think that's the thing that some of the reviewers have been very, very kind. I think the fact that I would consider, like, I kind of jokingly say it's the band, if you ask me what they sound like Van Jovi, you know? I mean, it's like Van Halen, Bon Jovi. I mean, the songs are really good. They're really up-tempo, great songs. And, you know, that's kind of the band's, the songwriting, Jimmy's approach, you know, the songwriting. He's a great guitarist. And, you know, he wrote those kind of pop sensibility, like metal and rock songs. So.
Van Jovi, that's going to be on my list.
Bon Jovi and the early Van Halen.
Wow. How did they come up with the name St. James?
Well, you know, I'm assuming that it was something. I think as I recall, it had a different name, and we asked them to change the name, and I think they came back with St. James, maybe because of Jimmy, the guitarist, James, and but you know, I never really asked them.
Okay.
And of course, there was Jamie St. James, you know, so there was a bit of confusion about that. I remember back in the day.
Okay. Well, that makes a little sense. I've got a I'm across the street from St. James Catholic Church.
It has nothing to do with that.
I know. I figured as much, but
they're pretty good guys, though. But there's certainly nothing that's going to come out of that church.
Okay, so you know the cult following of the Rods. What is a typical big show for you?
You know, at this point, we're doing like festivals. It could be anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000.
Okay.
Those are pretty typical shows. If we're doing a club day, you know, it can be 500 people. You know, maybe 300 people. You know, I mean, it just depends on what and where. But for us, you know, we don't dumb it down either way. It's the same show. You're gonna get the same output from us either way.
Wow. I'm really excited about the notion that you might get the band might get back in gear again, get back in drive and start making some new music. Let me ask this question: was there a moment of truth in your childhood? When did you start playing drums?
I started when I was 4 and a half when I went to a wedding reception with my mother, and I saw the drums. It was an American Legion. The drums are on stage, and it was the Hallelujah moment, the white lights, and the drum set lit up, and it was all I ever wanted to do. I was obsessed the rest of my childhood. And by the time I was 13, because, you know, my parents had separated when I was 3 or 4, so, you know, money was really tight with my mother, and so I really didn't have, we just didn't have the money. And so it took me until 13 of just crying and begging and, to get a set of drums. So at 13, I got a set of drums, and that was it. I was in a band within 6 months or less. And so I look back on it now, I think, wow, how crazy was that? Like, I can't imagine that I could even play, but they hired me. And
Well, did you have good time?
Pardon me?
Did you have good time?
I had a great time. Yeah, I mean, I've always had a great time playing, and never, I've always loved it. I still love it to this day. I mean, I was practicing this morning before I left the house. I still love it like I was 13.
Are you familiar with Dave Weckl?
I am. Yeah, great drummer.
Or King Crimson's drummer? Is it Bozio or Bozio?
Sorry, Bozio. Yeah, great drummer. There's so many young drummers out there now that are just unbelievable mathematician drummers. Super fast and like odd time meters and just unbelievably fast double bass stuff.
Yeah, what's his name from Meshuggah? Have you ever taken a look at his?
What's his name? Yeah, no, I didn't. I know you mean
Baki or Bakken or something like that. That guy got limb independence.
Yeah, no, he's amazing.
And I can't figure out what's going on with half the stuff. It's just some sort of miracle, I guess. But Lavia Strongyat.
There's so many techniques, to playing fast. So, a lot of young players drum up and they have access to a lot of YouTube things, but there's some techniques. I mean, I've had to change techniques over the years myself, just to change my style a little bit, adapt and learn new things. So.
Yeah, I saw a top 10 list that had the top 10 hardest songs to play, and Lavia Strongyato was up at number 1. And 2 was Bleed by Meshuggah. And there was, and then Tom Sawyer was 3, and then it just went from there. But, I like the Weckl. I like the Weckl rotating the fingers to get speed.
Mm-hmm. What's his name? I can't think of his name now. He holds a stick and he uses his ring, his middle finger, and he, moves the stick that way. And there's so many different techniques.
Yeah, and why not, right? I mean, there used to be
I think it's whatever works for you, and you use a combination. I use mostly French grip, but it's whatever works for you. Really, I don't play just French grip. I think you play what you need to play. And I studied with Tony Williams, and he really wanted me to play traditional grip. And then I saw him at the bottom line, and he played 2 shows, and I watched both shows, and he never once played traditional grip. So my next lesson was, hey, what the hell was that about? You're killing me on traditional grip. I don't want to play traditional grip. And, you don't play it. And so that gig didn't call for it. But you should know how to play traditional grip. So.
Yeah. It seems sort of awkward, though, at first. Real awkward.
Yeah, I don't play traditional grip much, but Rob Reiner's gone back to traditional grip more and more.
Yeah.
So, just whatever works for you. He's playing great, and it's whatever makes it happen for you.
Right.
To me, it's all about the music. Whatever it takes to make it happen. Whatever gets to that end point on the music is all that matters.
Right. Well, Carl, a lot of professional musicians will cite a kind of a moment of truth in their youth, where they heard a record and they played it over and over and over and over again and said, I want to do this, or they may have seen a live act or something like that. Did you have a moment of truth like that?
I did. I always wanted to play drums, so it was never about that. But when I started to play drums, I had a drum teacher who started taking lessons in the local music store, and this guy was just really negative. He was a very negative guy. He just thought everything I did was crap, and he used to tell me I sucked, and I shouldn't play match grip, and so, it was a little bit. Eventually, I thought, wow, why am I paying this guy? But I was learning from buying records, just imitating them, learning that way. Like Hal Blaine turned out to be one of my biggest drum teachers, until I took lessons from Carmine Appice. Hal Blaine was my guy. I listened to all these records, thought it was different drummers. It was all Hal Blaine. So it was all pop music that I was learning until I was watching American Bandstand one Saturday, and Blue Cheer came on, and they just freaking blew the speaker in the TV, and they were
Summertime Blues,
and just playing Summertime Blues, Marshalls, and it just sounded like it was just killing the drums, and I went, okay, that's what I want to do. So, and getting to produce them years later for Megaforce with two of the original guys, Paul Whaley and Dickie Peterson, it was just, it was the greatest thing to get to meet the guys and work with them. I love them.
wow, that's cool. Okay, so you've done a lot of interviews, I imagine, and they tend to be.
Sure.
There's a lot of repetition in the interviews, like what are your influences and blah blah blah. But I like to just kind of bullshit a little bit here toward the end, if we could. Do you have a philosophy of life?
Well, I guess I think I've always had some approach to things, but I think as you get older, now I have a much more non-judgmental. I think when I was younger, I was pretty judgmental, and now I really have a non-judgmental, a much more positive and a win-win kind of way. I just want to make sure that I can, for other musicians, young musicians, I always want to help. There was probably a time when I was young where, I just didn't want to help them. I didn't want anyone to be better than I was. And now I don't have that attitude. But in general, I have to live and let live. And I try to be kind, and I try to be as spiritual as I can in my own way and live a good life. And, it seems to work for me.
It's amazing how many people have an answer kind of like that. You get the black metal guys, the death metal guys, and you think they're going to be, in character in their art, but it's just rational, very intelligent, erudite people.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
I think to play some of that music, you have to be very intelligent. It's not, you're just not smoking a joint, kind of doing Sly and Robbie out there, where you do one little simple groove for 3 hours. You're playing some amazingly intense material. So you have to have a lot of thought put into that, and I would imagine it would carry over to other aspects of your life as well.
All right. What is the most unmetal music you listen to? If any.
Probably the most, I listen to a lot of things, but like I said, when I'm driving, it's I listen to Sirius radio, and it's between Howard Stern, liquid metal, the garage channel. What is that garage? I can think of the what's his name from Steve Van Zandt, Underground Garage. I listen to that. I listen to the Pulse. I listen to 60s, 70s, 80s channels. It just depends on what I need a break from, so I just flip around. But probably the most unmetal is probably the stuff that I started learning to play, the middle and late 60s music that I listen to. Which, I go back to that when I get overwhelmed with something else. I just want something that might be familiar and, something that reminded me of when I first started playing.
Right.
which is a lot of times I go back and dissect some of the things that I learned originally to find that, I really didn't understand it. So now I understand what they were doing a little better now. But so that's probably the most fundamental kind of stuff is that.
Okay. Did you play Led Zeppelin in those days? Of course, that was kind of the 70s.
Even the Rods, when we started out, we actually did quite a bit of Zeppelin in the early days. When the Rods started, within 3 months, we were in the studio recording original material for our first album. But we, live, we did whatever we had to do to survive. So, we were playing Who, Hendrix, we did a lot of Led Zeppelin, we did originals, and, we did whatever we had to do that we could get us a club gig, which in the early days we were emptying the clubs. I mean, we couldn't empty them fast. They couldn't empty fast enough. They were, we were at the end of disco and that whole thing in the clubs, and just did not want to hear, this nasty heavy metal music we were making. So in the early days, eventually we built a following, but it took a while. But it built slowly, and pretty soon we had a big following. But initially, it was just, I remember playing a club in Canady where we had, we just literally emptied the club. There was nobody there except our road crew, a couple of girlfriends. The place was empty. And my friend was sitting outside. He was one of the cool guys from it. And, over the years, I developed this, where I had kind of fit into that whole little Ithaca College snooty, oh, he's a good player kind of thing. And so it took me years to get into that. And finally I was in that club. They came out, and one of the guys who was a guitar tech in Ithaca Guitar Works said, "Kyle, what are you doing, man? This music sucks. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're so much better than this. And this is crazy." And I looked at him, he was like drunk. He was sitting on the sidewalk. And I was like, I stopped for a second. I went, yeah, man. And I went, whoa, why am I listening to this drunk on the sidewalk? No, I love doing what I'm doing. I don't care if people walk out of the club. They keep doing it. I never looked back from there. But
you've got the distinguished title of the Killers of Disco that I've.
Yeah, I don't know if we killed it, but we did our best to move past it.
Okay. Do you have a favorite pastime other than music?
Yeah, I love playing guitar. I love writing music, so, and recording. I mean, that's basically what my favorite pastime.
Do you do anything else, like read or watch movies or?
I love old movies. Definitely love movies. My daughter and I watch a lot of movies, and we'll go to movies. And I do read quite a bit, but most of the time.
Okay.
I'm doing that. I also sell real estate now, so I sell real estate, and so I love that. I love all of that comes with it. So sometimes that's pretty complicated, but.
Wow. Busy.
Busy, yeah. Like my daughter says, it's real estate. She goes, it's real estate, it runs. It's your life.
Well, yeah, and producing.
And producing, yeah. I just produced a gospel album by a group called Smart Gospel Singers, and it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. I produced an album by Spark, I want to say over 10 years ago, and so they asked me if I would consider producing another album for them.
All right, what's
actually just released?
What's one of your favorite movies of all time?
There are a lot of them, so I probably have to go by genre. But I love, The Godfather. I love the Godfather movies, especially the first and second.
Yeah, that's my wife's favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it succeeds on so many levels. The scenes, the setups, the dialogue, the acting. I mean, it's one of those things when it comes on, I can't help but watch it. And then I like sappy movies like Groundhog Day. And
oh, that's fantastic.
I'm all over the place, on movies, so it just depends on the genre.
Okay. Cool. Uh, do you imbibe?
You know, interesting you ask that because it comes up every now and then. I always laugh because when I first started playing, like I said, I was like 13, so I was in a band at 13 and a half, and they were older. And you know, for the first 10 years of my life, everybody was older than I was. So I made a vow that I saw these people like getting busted. I saw them wasted. You know, some of them going to jail. A couple died. I made a pact with myself that I would never drink or do drugs when I played. And I started playing 6 nights a week. And so, just no way to start. So I never did. And never have. Like, my friends laugh at me because they'll go, you know, you have it. Because normally my friends, you know, he had to have a beer. So it becomes my half a beer because I never finish it. And you know, you can have your annual half a beer. And, you know, I just was never into it. And not that I didn't smoke some pot, didn't love it, you know. And
Well,
so,
whenever I hear someone say that they don't drink by choice, as opposed to they hit bottom and they had to quit, I'm just always amazed. Always amazed.
yeah, I mean, I just never did. And I think it was because I made that vow to myself that I never would. And I love playing, and I practiced 6 hours a day, every day. And you know, it just didn't happen for me that way. And fortunately, you know, it was something that I just wasn't that into. When I used to play clubs, I remember in Asbury Park, the guy who owned the club was, Orange, because I would drink orange juice. So had, I don't know where he was from, but he would see me and he'd go, Orange.
Orange.
The other places, it was always, oh, you're the club soda guy, because it was such an unusual thing when a band plays a club for a week that, you know, one of the musicians doesn't drink, because most musicians do drink.
Yeah, well, I don't drink either, so we're in the same boat, I guess.
Well, good for you. I mean, it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with drinking, you know. So I just chose not to. There was a while where a point where people would be like, wow, you know, like, what's wrong? And I would go, yeah, you know, after rehab, I just decided not to. You know, it's like a big joke because, you know, like, people just didn't want to hear about a musician who just didn't have a drug or alcohol problem if they didn't drink. You know, it had to be some reason why. So I would just go, yeah, you know, just I go, okay, then they would leave me alone. Stop trying to get me to drink. Because if you say you don't drink, you're out with people drinking. A lot of times, they're just relentless in trying to get you to drink.
I could tell you this, Carl. If I'd have been 13 with your drum skills, playing in a band, I'd have been dead by 22.
Why is that? From drinking or?
Yeah, I had no control over anything, you know, when I was at that age. If it made me feel different, I wanted it. And so, you know, eventually it got so bad that I started getting DTs and withdrawals and things like that. And so I was able to quit. But it was a hard.
That's usually what happens. I mean, you just reach a point where it doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah. And so I've been able to do that for 26 years now. So.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations, because that's a big accomplishment. I think that's one of the things that with my daughter, you know, growing up, I always say, look, I can't stop you from swearing. I can't stop you from doing anything, really. I can tell you, and I can yell, and I can scream. But the reality of it is this: I'll tell you that, like, if you get involved with drugs, you know, rock stars and athletes who make lots of money don't have enough money for cocaine addiction. And, you know, the other thing is, my friends who've had problems with alcohol, they have to deal with it every day. It's something that winds up, they have to use some energy to deal with that. And he said, so the best thing you can do is just not to go there. Just, if you can avoid it, avoid it. So,
that's a good message.
So far, so good. She's kind of got it and recognized it. But, you know, to each his own. I don't have any.
I have the same thing with my daughter. It's so different from when I was in high school, man. She's they just, it's totally different. we were always looking for parties and.
I think you have. I think when I was a kid, you had more. Um, you know, it was the big social thing. Whereas now, a lot of kids are like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink. I have no use for it. And they have a support group because there are other kids who are not into it as well. Whereas I remember when I was young, it was like I was the freak. You know what I mean? It was not like it was unusual. You know, like what's wrong with you? You don't want to get high. You don't want to get stoned. You don't want to drink. You know what's the deal? What's wrong with you?
Okay, so here's a question out of left field for you. What do you think happens? What do you think happens when you die?
Well, I mean, I can give you my thoughts on it, but I have, the real answer is I have no idea. My hope is that, that somehow or other we reconnect with our loved ones, and in a spiritual plane that somehow we would all recognize each other and go back to sharing fun times and so on. But maybe it goes into this giant pool of energy, and maybe there's nothing. It could be any number of things. We can come back. I mean, reincarnation. So I don't really know what. I don't have a handle on what it is, but I think you have to kind of look at something. It's pretty amazing what's happened here, in the whole world. So you have to kind of believe in a higher power, and wherever that takes everybody in their own individual, what they believe is fine with me, as long as it's not Sharia law, and anyone who doesn't believe the way you believe must die.
Yeah. And true. Okay, so here's my last question, and it is for the fans. The hits record is out, correct?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's out. We started recording it, so we have some things already we recorded. But I think we're moving past it. So yes, I would say the fans could look for a slightly different title than that one. I think there may be new music.
Okay, when could we expect to see that, do you think?
Well, I would hope by the end of 2017 we would have the music out.
Okay. So you heard it, Battalions. We might have some really good music at the end of 2017. Well, only a year away from now, and time flies.
It certainly does. It's hard to believe the band's been together as long as we have.
Yeah.
And we get along. That's the other thing. It's amazing we still get along.
One of my favorite bands, legendary. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I can't believe I was talking to, the founder of the Rods, and that's really amazing to me. And
thank you for the support. We all appreciate it so much.
You bet. And thanks for your congeniality and going along with my questions. I appreciate it. Have a good evening and a good holiday season.
All right. Thank you. The same to you.
All right. Thanks, Carl.